APs are right around the corner. And if you're a student and taking a few of them, you're feeling the pressure. And if you're an AP language and culture student, no matter which language that happens to be, then this video is for you because today, as a teacher and reader of AP Spanish language and culture, I'm going to teach you how to study and best prepare for this exam. Because guess what? Even if you're not taking AP Spanish language, you might be taking French or Italian, German, Chinese. The exam content, as far as the structure of the exam and the protocols that you need to ensure a high grade, are the same. So here is a way that you can study for the exam. First of all, vocabulary. Vocabulary is key on the exam. So taking all the 6 themes and going through what the most common knowledge as far as vocabulary that you will need to either be able to recognize certain words in text for the multiple choice and to produce words on your own in the free response. For instance, if you're looking at the first theme, which is families and communities, and you're looking at traditions and values, words like traditions, obviously, values, customs, to instill, these are words that you're going to use constantly. While you're in those units, pick out articles and any of the readings and listening you've done that is heavy in content as far as culture, and jot all that information down per theme. This will be best used for the cultural comparison and even other parts of the exam, like the email, the conversation, and that way you have a good grasp on knowledge that can pertain to the free response section. And even the reading and listening, because they use a lot of the same topics for those as well. They like to recycle a lot, so it's going to be helpful all across the board. Speaking of reading and listening, learn the protocols for every part of the exam. Do the protocols for both. Then pick an area that you're weaker at. For a lot of kids, it's reading. It's tougher. Do a reading section in Barron's or a progress check, where on AP Classroom you'll have to do the whole thing. We need to practice not just what we're good at to make us feel better, but the things that we need the most practice on, the things that we're not so good at. And that can be tough to recognize doing that. We need to focus there. Once you do all the protocols and learn them, apply them, take practice tests. Same thing with free response. You've gone through the vocab, you've gone through the themes, and you've picked out some really interesting and relevant information to each of the themes that could come up in a free response. Great. Now what you have to do is memorize the protocols. They are linked to my YouTube channel, and I'll link them here too. Again, they're in English for any AP language student. They're also in Spanish if you want to practice your Spanish. And I also have a link to holistic scoring, how your exam is going to be graded on the day. And that way you know how to approach each part of the exam. And then finally, common errors. Go through your speakings and your writings. Start a Google Doc or any sort of document. Write it if you prefer. Writing is muscle memory. And start going through common errors and the corrections. For example, topic. In Spanish, a lot of kids might write el tópico because they think it's a cognate. Little do they know that means cliche. Tema, el tema. And start looking at all the common errors and start noticing some of the themes there. Practice those. And look at the tenses. Have I mastered the subjunctive? If not, go online, practice the subjunctive. These are ways that are going to help hone your skills and your knowledge in preparation for the AP exam, no matter what language you take. And if you want any more help or you have questions, you can throw them in the link below. But all these videos of the culture, the more so the knowledge on how to apply each part of the exam, and the culture itself is on my website too. If you go to makingspanishsimple.com, not only do I have resources that help with gathering a lot of the content and some practice questions that aren't from Barron's, but are similar to the themes shown on past exams. But more importantly, on my YouTube channel, just join the playlist, download them, listen to each part of the exam every single day before you try one. And that way, when you get to the exam, you need to have the protocols memorized. If anything, that is the best way to approach it, because you could be a native speaker, a heritage speaker, and you could speak and write beautifully, but if you don't complete the task, you cannot pass. All that information is below. So again, protocols, holistic scoring, vocab on each theme, write down the most important words, look at your common errors, learn from them, make a list, look at the holistic scoring and the protocols one more time before you do each section, and practice what you need the most help with first. You can always start with that and then do something that's a little easier for you to raise or boost the self-esteem a little bit. But again, practice makes permanent. So those are some tips on how to get through the next couple weeks for any AP language and culture class. And like I said, subscribe to my channel. I have playlists on each part of the exam, on each list of the exam, whether you want videos in English, Spanish, or holistic scoring. And go to makingSpanishSimple.com and subscribe today for more info, not only on AP exams, but the Spanish language and culture, if that is of interest to you. So good luck for the next few weeks, and practice, practice, practice.